Well, I wanted to jump on to Instagram Live and spend some time with you and share some of my thoughts on where the world is, some of my thoughts on productivity in the pandemic, some of my thoughts on leadership, some of my thoughts on humanity. Not that I know so much, but I'll just share some of my thoughts on where we're going and how you can navigate all the change and all the disruption. I have 5 words I'm going to focus on. Just so this is raw and real. Those are the 5 words I'm going to focus on. And, well, first of all, let me see where everyone is. If you could tell me where you're from, and I'll make sure this Instagram Live has lots of value for you. So it'll definitely be worth your time. Okay, let me just get right into it. So the first word I want to offer you is unity. Unity. We are in an interesting time in the world right now. There is the big American election today. And what comes to my mind, just as hopefully a humble servant to you and as many people as possible, is the need for unity. And perhaps even the need for perspective. We are all brothers and sisters on a little planet in a galaxy of trillions of galaxies. Pretty interesting perspective, right? So unity, we're all one tribe, we are all one family, no matter what the color of my skin or your skin, no matter what your religion is, no matter where you live on the planet right now. You know, I have traveled the world many times, and I've met a lot of people, and I've in one way or another related to millions and millions of people. Maybe it's through my books, maybe it's through my live events, maybe it's through my online courses. And if there's one thing I've noticed, whether I'm in the Middle East or whether I'm in Latin America or whether I'm in Northern Europe or Southern Europe or whether I'm in North America, whether that's Canada or the United States or Mexico, whether it's in Asia, Southeast Asia, whether maybe it's Mauritius or Africa, where I was actually born, people are fundamentally the same. We all have hopes. We all have dreams. We all want to do well for our family. We all want food in our stomach. We all want work that has meaning. We all want to feel a sense of belonging. We all want to know that our lives have mattered. And, you know, I don't think we're that different. When you scratch away at the surface and you get to know another human being, whether you are in Africa, whether you are in Latin America, whether you are in North America, whether you are in Asia or Africa, or people fundamentally have the same drives, and they have the same longings, and they have the same fears, and they have the same hopes. So the first word that I offer to you off of my little post-it note is unity. Unity. It would just be so wonderful and so important and so valuable if, rather than tearing people down, I look on the internet and it's so easy to tear people down. You press a keystroke, you press a button. You can put someone's work down. You can put someone's opinion down. You can put someone's life down. You can put someone's business down. You can destroy someone's reputation now with a couple of inputs on your laptop or on your mobile. And I think real leadership is looking for the best in every human being and celebrating the best. You know, it's so easy even to put down people's work. Well, you know, if you're not doing it, don't knock someone else who's doing it. I think that's really important. And yeah, I think that's it. So unity. The second word is productivity. Productivity. That's so much of the focus of my curriculum and my work. And I want to play with a term. I got up very early today. It was probably 4:15, and I meditated. And then I had a workout at around 6 with my trainer. And I just was thinking about this term, productivity in the pandemic. Productivity in the pandemic. And, I always think of the lotus. I put a lotus on the cover of my book, Who Will Cry When You Die? Because a lotus is an incredible metaphor for flourishing and beauty and life amidst the messiest, dirtiest conditions. Did you know that a lotus grows in a swamp? So we're in a pandemic. There is economic chaos. There is environmental chaos. By the way, if you haven't seen David Attenborough's documentary, it's called, I think it's A Life on Our Planet. But it's David Attenborough, and it's worth watching. So we have the pandemic, we have environmental chaos, we have economic upheaval is really the word. We have incredible social strife. So I think the second word I want to offer to you is productivity, because you want to be like that lotus. In the middle of all of this messiness, you want to grow. And it's so important to ask yourself, yes, there's suffering because of the pandemic and all of the layoffs and all of the unemployment. So we all acknowledge the people who have died. We all acknowledge this is a time of great suffering. If you don't feel the suffering that the world is going through right now, you're not alive, or you've been so traumatized you've probably repressed and numbed everything so you don't feel anymore. So feel that collective trauma, or maybe you're experiencing anxiety, maybe you're incredibly discouraged because the world looks so bleak. But please also remember, our world has gone through these kinds of cycles many times. And I would also suggest, while we recognize the suffering, and while you might honor your suffering versus repress it, what a leader does is you don't give your power away to what's going on in the world. And you ask yourself, what is the benefit? Here's the term that came to me this morning. What is the benefit of the pandemic? I mean, I've been grounded. I haven't traveled really. I used to spend my days giving keynotes around the world and doing these live events and going to all these incredible places and meeting amazing people. And now it's every day I'm at home. But it's so quiet. And since March of this year, until the past 2.5 weeks, every day, almost every day, I wrote my new book. And for all those of you who are asking about my new book, it's at HarperCollins now, going through the copy editing stage, and we are rushing to get my new book out to you as soon as possible. But there are so many benefits in the pandemic. It's a quieter time. A lot of us were busy being busy. A lot of us were not spending enough time with our family. A lot of us gave up on, art. A lot of us were not reading. A lot of us were too much in the world. A lot of us were basing our self-identity by buying all these things. And so isn't it interesting how life has shut down the malls? Isn't it interesting how life has shut down work? I just want you to play with it. Maybe you don't, but isn't it interesting? I always say nature knows what she's doing. There's this incredible wisdom that orchestrates the world and the universe. And all of a sudden, we can't go to work anymore. All of a sudden, the shopping malls are closed. All of a sudden, all of the escapes, or many of the escapes that we would run to avoid feeling, to avoid reading, to avoid connecting with our wisdom, to avoid asking ourselves, who am I? What do I want to stand for? What must I contribute to the world for me to feel this was a great life? So there are incredible benefits to the pandemic. And one of them is you can really increase your productivity. I've talked to a lot of people who say this is the least productive year they've ever had. And I understand why. But if you're looking at the news all day, and if you're on Zoom calls all day, and if you're chatting with your friends all day, and you're sharing the latest worryment, I just made up that word, but you're going to feel very stressful. And if you've read the 5 a.m. Club, then you know about the tight bubble of total focus. I believe right now, you don't want to just isolate yourself from the virus. I think you want to isolate yourself from the distraction, and you want to isolate yourself from the negativity, and you want to live in this tight bubble of total focus with your bubble of family members so you can produce your music for the world. I sure hope my new book is a masterpiece. It's up to you to tell me if it is or it isn't. But because of all the quietude and all the space, I got to go deep on this new book. So the second word is really productivity. Block out the news, block out all the attraction, if you're in pain, which we all are because of what's happening in the world, then you're going to avoid the pain by spending more time on your digital device. You're going to escape or numb yourself out from reality by social media, by too many videos, too many documentaries, too many films, too many TV shows, etc. Please remember, this is maybe the finest time of your life to produce your masterwork. And a lot of my work speaks to genius. So you've heard me say this before, but whether you're in Mumbai, whether you're in Bangalore, whether you're in Bogota, whether you're in Punta del Este, whether you're in KL, whether you're in Singapore, whether you're in Shanghai, whether you're in Siberia, whether you are in Zimbabwe, whether you are in Cape Town or Franschhoek or Stellenbosch, whether you're in Kenya, whether you're in Sweden, whether you're in London, whether you're in Roma or Naples, or you have the ability to do and produce remarkable work. I must say, I see a lot of people now, it's like, everyone help me right now, I'm in trouble. Well, why don't we help ourselves? That's what responsibility is. I say this very respectfully, but there's too much, I can't do things. It makes me think of a square in a famous city. I was reading about this last Saturday. Please turn up your volume on this so you can hear this. So there's this square in a very famous city. True story, reported in a newspaper I read online last Saturday. All of the restaurants around the square are complaining. The tourists are gone. No money. We won't survive. The reporter said, well, so what's the solution? One of the servers said, we have to wait until the tourists come back. That's it. Except for one restaurant. There were 2 entrepreneurs who took over the restaurant. And they realized there aren't any tourists, but there are tens of thousands of locals who live around this square. So they reinvented the menu. They increased the quality of the food so it wasn't tourist food. They decreased the prices. They made the plates smaller so they could still make a profit. They reinvented the space. You cannot get a table at this restaurant. To me, it's a tale of 2 mindsets. Leadership versus victimhood. Leadership versus victimhood. It's so easy. I am not minimizing the disruption and change and scaring us in the world right now. But you can curse the darkness or you can light the candle. You can curse the darkness or you can light the candle. That's a quote by Christopher Morley, and it speaks to this world right now. Are you using this quietude to produce your masterwork? Are you using this quietude to upgrade your health? Well, Robin, the gyms are closed. Nelson Mandela on Robben Island rose at 5 a.m. to run on the spot and do push-ups every morning. See what I mean? Oh, the gyms are closed. I can't exercise. You can still run on the spot. You can still do push-ups. You can still do planks. You can still do mountain climbers. You can still do burpees. And if you can afford it, look at Peloton. Look at all the online apps you can get. But what happens to human beings is we give away our power and we say we can't be productive. And we come up with these excuses and we repeat these excuses. And then we create this neurocircuitry of victimhood. And then we see a reality that is born of scarcity versus opportunity. So second word is productivity on my little 5-word sheet. And ask yourself, what must I do to protect my energy? What must I do to protect my inspiration? What must I do to avoid distraction? What must I do to bring on my fire? So you use this time, because this will end, the pandemic will end, then I do believe there are going to be a number of years of, let's call it messiness from all the economic turmoil. I don't think that's going to end very quickly. How could it? And yet, if you ask yourself, how can I use this time to add more value to my marketplace, to add more value to my customers, to write the book I've always wanted to write, to learn how to write a screenplay, to be a chef, to be a painter, to launch your venture, to start the project that will upgrade your organization, to launch a nonprofit, to start a movement, to find a vaccine. I don't know what you're going to do, but this is a glorious time to produce your magic and sing your music and bring it to the world. And if all you're doing is worrying and blaming and complaining and saying, world, help me, I have no power, help me. Third word is artistry. So you have music inside of you. You might argue and say, no, it's easy for you to say. Why is it easy for me to say? I started with a self-published book in a 24-hour copy shop. I didn't know anything about writing. I didn't know anything about publishing. Didn't know anything about speaking. Didn't know anything about online. I don't come from a business family. I started with very little. Now you might say, well, Robin, you were a lawyer. Yeah, I worked hard to get into law school and got my law degree and I got the job. All I'm saying is the whole history in many ways of people having impact, people creating success, people living the lives they want to live is a story of people who started off with very little. And they saw an opportunity. And rather than listening to the demons in their hearts, they overcame their doubts. And when they were attacked and when they were laughed at and when they felt like giving up, they continued. I'm reading a beautiful book again. It's called The Billionaire Who Wasn't. It's about the gentleman who founded duty-free shops. And then he became a multi-billionaire. Here's another amazing story. He became a multi-billionaire. Then he gave away all his money. But he started from very little. Even Red Bull. You know the story about Red Bull. He was a salesman. His partner was Thai. He was suffering from jet lag. He said to his partner, what are you drinking? The partner said, oh, this is the drink that we drink. It was a Thai word for Red Bull. Started Red Bull, and this Austrian entrepreneur I believe he made his Thai partner a 50% partner, and they created this company called Red Bull. So it's a great time to bring your artistry to the world right now. You work for the world. I work for the world. Before I know it, no matter how long I get to live, I'll be a little bit of dust. So it's sort of a race against the clock, isn't it? And I really try to viscerally, not only as an intellectual idea, but viscerally, I try to, as an emotionally or a felt idea, I try to remember, I don't know if I'll be knocked out of the game tomorrow. I don't know if I'll live another 50 years. I'm doing some really interesting biohacking that I'm very excited about. I've been doing it for about 4 years. But who knows how long we get to live? That's why, a lot of the new book is about don't postpone your dreams. Don't postpone them. Don't postpone the love in your heart. Don't postpone talking the way you want to talk. Don't postpone living by your values. Don't postpone visiting the countries once it's safe that you want to visit. Don't postpone asking for what you want. Before we know it, no matter how long we live, we'll be dead. And then none of this is going to matter. Whoever wins the American election won't matter. Whatever happens won't matter if you're dead. I mean, that's why keeping mortality and the shortness of life front and center is so powerful. So the first word was unity. The second word, I'm not going to save this. I'm not going to save this live because today I want to just recognize and appreciate every one of you who is here with me right now. So the first word was unity. The second word was productivity. The third word is artistry. Fourth word. So I reread a lot of one of my favorite books. Have you read Benjamin Franklin's autobiography? In my earlier books, I used to evangelize that book so much. Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. It's an incredible book. And in September, I reread parts of it. And there's a chapter where he talks about his experiment. And what he did was he came up with 13 virtues that he wanted to live by. 13 virtues. Temperance. I think patience was one of them. And what he did was he said, every week he would focus on, he made a little grid, and every week he'd focus on one of the 13 virtues. And then after 13 weeks, so let me just be more clear. Forgive me if I wasn't clear. He came up with 13 virtues, and then he actually created a template. And every night before he'd go to sleep, he would match how he lived with how he wanted to live on that virtue. And one of the virtues, because this is my fourth word, it's frugality. Isn't that a great word, especially right now? Frugality. So every night for 1 week, he'd work on frugality, and he'd go, was I frugal? Did I spend less than I earned? Was I careful with everything? Frugality isn't just money. Frugality with food. Frugality with energy. Frugality with words. Frugality with worry. That would be a cool way to think about frugality. And then he'd match how he lived, so he'd build awareness. If you've read the 5 a.m. Club, so many of you have been transformed by what? The 3-step success formula. If you want to go deep, read the book. But simply the 3-step success formula is with better awareness, you can make better daily choices, better daily results. So awareness is powerful. Anyway, so the fourth word I want to jam on in this Instagram Live is frugality. Now, I think it's fine to reward yourself if you've worked hard. You don't have to live incredibly in such an austere way you don't enjoy life. And people who've read The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari say, but I don't want to give up a Ferrari. If you like a Ferrari and it brings you joy, do it. If you want to buy a new coat, you want to buy a new watch, you want to buy whatever it is, enjoy life. And yet what we're seeing right now, a lot of people have spent more than they've made. A lot of people are in too much debt. So frugality is a great word to think about. And that's another benefit of the pandemic. A lot of us are spending less than we've spent in years. We can't go out to restaurants, can't travel. People can't go to shopping malls. Yes, I understand online shopping. But frugality is a great word. And as I age, I buy less than I've ever bought because there's so little payoff for me. It actually adds complexity, I find. So I just like simplicity more than ever. And I like keeping my focus on my personal development and on my family and on my craft and on my books and on my, I've always built my life just around a few things, but frugality, keeping it lean, being a minimalist and a purist, especially now, it's so powerful. Last word, mortality. Mortality. It's so important to remember how incredibly short life is. And I think one of the great snares of the human belief system is we say, well, I will write my masterpiece. I will launch the new business. I will forgive the unforgiven. I will read the books I've always wanted to read. I will watch the moon shine. Maybe that's not the best word, but whatever, the full moon. I will listen to Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. I will learn how to make spaghetti al limone. That's what I did on Sunday. I've been working on my cooking through the pandemic, and I made a pretty awesome spaghetti al limone on Sunday. It was nicely al dente. The lemon was, the zest and the lemon was, olive oil was great. I've seen some people make it with cream. I don't think that's the traditional recipe. I used extra virgin olive oil. And then I finished it with a little bit of pecorino romano and romano, and just for that nice feeling. So anyway, I thank you for your time. I hope I have walked you through those 5 important words. I won't be saving this Instagram Live. I usually do. I don't know. It just feels right to honor you for being here with me right now. And you probably know, if you don't know this, go to the profile, my profile here on Instagram, and you're going to see a link which will allow you to download the entire audiobook of my #1 global bestseller, The Greatness Guide, for free. Go to my profile. People ask me, well, where is it? It's so clear. Go to my profile here on Instagram, click on the link. You're going to see the Greatness Guide audiobook or something like that. I don't know what my team's put up, but it's the Greatness Guide audiobook. Download it or click on the link, and you're going to receive the full access to the full audiobook of the Greatness Guide, no charge whatsoever. And it's a book that's helped millions of people. And I'm giving you the audiobook at no charge whatsoever, just to show you how much I appreciate you, to do my best to help you through this difficult time, and to sort of give you as much information as possible on how you can show leadership versus victimhood, how you can use this time for creativity, how you can bulletproof and battleproof your hope, how you can increase your energy. I talk about all of that in the Greatness Guide. So go to my profile here on Instagram, click on the link. You'll see how you can get full access to my audiobook. No charge whatsoever. So why wouldn't you do it? And I found, by the way, if you could look, I'm here at home, and if you could look around, I'm reading like I've never read. I have books everywhere. Such a great time to read. And you don't have to read my books. It's okay. Not everyone likes my books. Not everyone likes chocolate ice cream. Not everyone likes queso pepe. Some people like matriciana. And that's okay. I've been saying this for so many years, but people give away their power and they complain. I don't know how to do this. I don't know where to go. Help me, world. Help me. Giving away their power like victims. Almost everything you need to learn how to start a business, how to write a book, how to rewire your mindset, how to purify your heart set, how to become healthier, how to be a great public speaker, how to make more money, how to be healthier, how to find love, how to live longer. The ideas are in books for $20, $8, $30. I sometimes, no disrespect, I see people saying, Robin, I've heard about the 5 a.m. Club. Everyone's reading it, but it's in hardcover. Now it's in paperback, but I'm just trying to make a point here. Robin, it's in hardcover. I'll wait a year or two until it's in paperback. For $5, you're going to wait 2 years to miss learning the ideas that could revolutionize your life. And so it's the mindset and the heart set and the way of being, which is whether you read my books or anyone else's, whether you do my online courses or anyone else's, just really commit yourself to being a world-class student. And that doesn't mean a few tweets or Instagram posts, like it's a cult of superficiality, you know. Sit there 3 hours, train yourself. It's a practice. You want to get great at skiing? Practice. You want to get great at spaghetti alla limone? Practice. You want to get great at being a heavyweight thinker, heavyweight craftsperson, heavyweight student? Practice studying your game charts, reading a book for 3 or 4 hours, making notes, then pulling out your journal and deconstructing what you've learned, and then going for a nature walk and thinking about it, and then having a mastermind conversation with someone whose life you want to be living about what you learned, and block out the noise, block out the worry, block out the negativity, block out the naysayers, block out all the people who criticize us who want to do beautiful things in the world. And just stick to your knitting, and the days will slip into weeks, the weeks will slip into months, the months will slip into years. If you get to live long. You might not get to live long. But I'd rather be in the game versus playing with my phone all day. All right. Take care. See you later.